Hey, what is up? This is Jake, and on this week's video version of our podcast, Trail Cam Radio, we have Wayne and Cavan from Scoutek. Wayne and Cavan developed the app Scoutek that is paired with the Exodus render. So if you have an Exodus render, you use the Scoutek app to check photos, share it with friends, and do mobile commands. We wanted to sit down with Wayne and Cavan and hear how they built the app, why they built it, and what features might be coming down the pipeline. If you guys enjoy the episode, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Now let's go ahead and get right into the interview.
Lights,
camera,
follow the trail.
ready to shoot.
If you know where a deer's bedding and you know where he's eating, that deer should be dead.
Camera.
If you're passive on a deer, what you're doing is you're teaching them.
I've got 30 bucks in the Michigan record book. Everyone but one has had at least one previous wound on his body. Some had as many as 4.
Trail Cam Radio.
From the guys at Exodus.
All right, we are live at the Airbnb in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We have Wayne and Cavan from Scoutek with us, and you guys have been at the booth the last 3 or 4 days now.
Yep.
And I guess going back to further that, you guys have played a pretty big role with our Exodus render project, and ultimately that camera is paired with your guys' software that you guys developed.
A little more than I would say a giant role. A little more than a big role. I mean, personally, going through development and all the stuff with firmware and software, I don't know that this is possible without Wayne and Cavan. Even on my end, like Wayne jumping in and doing things, helping us out, really going above and beyond what probably you should have been doing. But we can't thank you enough for everything that you guys do. And on the backside of that too, I've talked to customers that will call in and maybe they try to get a hold of us first and ended up with you guys, and they're like, "Oh, I talked to Wayne and Cavan. Those guys are awesome." So nothing but good things to say, from our end and our customer base about you guys. We appreciate that.
Before we get too far into the Scoutek project, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves, what you do prior to Scoutek?
Okay. So I've been a software developer all my life. Probably back in '93, I had already graduated college and worked for a company for a few years, and ended up having some ideas about some things going on in the banking industry. And so I had a couple partners with me, and we created a banking software company, and we ran that company for probably 20 to 25 years. Eventually that whole industry kind of got so regulated that it kind of took my passion away for doing the development and being able to invent like creative ideas and put that into the software. So eventually we sold that company, and around that time I ended up getting in contact with one of the currently leading trail camera companies to help them. This was probably, I'm not sure, maybe 6 or 8 years ago, and help them get their camera converted to a wireless camera, and I developed the mobile apps and interfaces to the Verizon carriers and stuff like that for them, and kind of help them get that project off the ground. And so that's kind of what got me into the hunting and trail camera industry, and kind of have just really, that brought my passion back as a software developer, to just be able to get back and take ideas that I have and put them into action and let people use the software that we develop and see their reaction is so gratifying. That's kind of what brought me back into the fold, so to speak. So
yeah, since he had been in the software development side of things for his whole life, of course I was exposed to it growing up, so I kind of got familiar with some of it, and it was really interesting to me too, just to be able to think up an idea, say, hey man, this would be cool if we could do this in this app, and then just make it happen. So probably 6 to 8 years ago, whenever he was working on that project, I helped him out a little bit with it. So I kind of got my feet wet a little bit in the software development end of things, and kind of sparked from there. And then some years later, probably early 2017, we thought up this idea of what Scoutek is now, and we got to work. So I don't know if you want to.
You guys definitely got to work. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You guys.
So explain, I guess, most of the people listening to this podcast on Trail Cam Radio are probably already existing customers. But for anybody watching this on YouTube, I guess explain Scoutek, the product, because while we're at the booth, whether we're pitching people at Harrisburg at the trade show or we're talking to customers on the phone, for us, like the physical product is one thing, but when you're using a connected device in the manner that it should be used, the mobile app and the mobile software, whatever you want to call it, is a bigger part of the actual product, because that's what they're using every day. They have their phone on their hip. They have more interaction with the mobile app than they actually do the physical, the hardware and the physical product of the camera. So that's why, in our mind, like, it is so important for that to be, a leading platform in the mobile or connected device wireless trail camera industry.
Correct. One of the things when Cavan and I were just kind of tossing some ideas around, we knew we wanted to kind of, as a father-son relationship, it's like, what father wouldn't want to like start a business with their son? And just we've kind of been great friends. We had a really close relationship growing up, and we used to always do our hunting, and that was always a thing. We used to always make sure we'd set a weekend aside and just, go spend it out in the woods. And so to me, the prospect of starting a company with my son was probably one of the most exciting things in my life. And then part of that was just enjoying the industry as a whole, the hunting, and just our piece of the pie, which is the trail camera software. So we kind of took a step back and said, we had some experience developing the hardware and working with manufacturers and working with carrier vendors. We thought about for a minute, maybe we should build our own brand camera and come out with our own product. But we took really the step back and said, what does the industry need? Not what we want to do, but what does the industry need? And we just saw the need where there was camera companies popping up out of the woodworks. Mm-hmm. And it seems like from our perspective, a lot of the companies would go out there and they just wanted to have a product to sell as quickly as they could.
Yep.
And so they would work with some manufacturer and get them a wireless camera, and the software became the afterthought. Like, oh yeah, now that I have a camera, what am I going to provide the customer the ability to do? And so really, as the consumers, they're the ones that was hurting from that, because so many cameras that they would go out and buy, and we just hear this every day. It's like, if they even have apps, some of them don't, then usually the apps were like poorly thought out, poorly written. Even the one that I had wrote many years ago for this leading camera company has not even been touched since I did that as a contract job. Just developed the app, and then our no bad relationship, but that was just the end of the contract. So I developed that for them, and then it hasn't been really touched since then. So that goes to show you, even the leading camera manufacturers out there, it's kind of like what they're doing in the software to provide solutions to the consumers is just a back thought. Mm-hmm. And so we felt like what the industry could really use is really a focus on the software end of it, to take not only to make something work, but to make it work well, and to expand beyond what's, to catch up to this generation of electronic users. When you get, all the younger generations getting into hunting, they're all about their electronic devices. And so we just feel like that interaction, we needed to raise the bar in the industry. And so the premise behind the company is to not just develop a software for a camera, but to change the way people look at this trail camera mobile app industry, in that we want to be able to bring multiple brands of different trail cameras all into one product. Because I've never met a person or a hunting club or anything like that where all they ever owned is just one brand. Mm-hmm. Everybody has tried this brand, they try this brand. And so what we've recognized is that what does not exist in the industry is one trail camera mobile app that's going to work for multiple brands. But we understood going into it that if we did develop our own camera, that was going to be the same case there, that no one would work with us. We're not trying to compete with any camera companies. All we're wanting to do is work with camera companies to increase the capabilities and solutions that we offer the customers
Right.
in the industry.
Yeah, so, of course, the whole premise behind having a cellular trail camera is so that you can get the photos straight to your phone, have a web portal, you can view your photos. So if you kind of, I don't want to say half-ass, but if you don't take your time and thoroughly develop a quality either app or website or probably both, what you need, then you're kind of only getting, half of what you pay for when you buy a cellular camera. So, we noticed, even as, personally, we owned a range of different brands of these wireless cameras that, we just felt like after paying the money and then paying this subscription to the carrier, we're just not really getting what we paid for. And a lot of these companies, they're great at product development, so they're great at rolling out cameras, the hardware, and all of that. But it's sort of the missing piece to the puzzle is the apps and all of that to go along with it. And there's a few reasons for that. Obviously, to outsource software development can get pretty expensive. So we figured as forming Scoutek, we could kind of bring that missing piece to the puzzle, where we can say, hey, to a camera company, we've got this software. It's already developed. You don't have to pay anybody to develop it. We'll work with you and your manufacturer, help you build a camera that can use our software. And then now as a customer, I can have all of my different brands of cameras and just check my one app for all my photos or, manage all my cameras. But not only that, it actually works when I use it, so that's kind of the main premise behind it.
I think that's one of the coolest things. As you guys said, it seems like the market is shifting into connected devices. The trail camera market is shifting into connected devices, and we have all these customers that are, they'll buy one brand, they'll buy this brand, they'll buy this brand, trying to figure out like which one they actually like the best. And there's probably pluses and minuses to each physical product and the software that's going along with it. And what we've been seeing is even as people are buying a render, they may have another cellular, or connected device from a different brand. And then they like that Scoutek. They like you guys and the app so much. They're like, well, I'm ditching that generic white label app from so-and-so. I'm running all my cameras on Scoutek. So to be clear, you guys have the ability to work with a lot of existing cameras through the mobile app or the web portal.
Yes. We basically currently, Scoutek offers what we consider two different services. One is going to be what we refer to as Scoutek Wireless, and that's going to be when you're going to actually use Scoutek to do the activation of the camera. And currently, Exodus's render camera is the first model that we brought on board to actually utilize that. And with that, it means we've gone through rigorous testing, as y'all know, like lots and lots of testing. And so we co-developed that interface with the camera vendor to fully integrate every functionality from the camera into the mobile app. So under the Scoutek wireless service, you not only can just and we'll talk about the data plans later, but not only you can just use one location to do everything. You don't have to go register the camera here and then go over here and activate it, and then eventually you get around to using the app. You can just start in Scoutek, you hit a couple buttons, you register the camera, pick your data plan, you're up and running. You can control everything in the camera from the app. You never need the camera in your hand. Every setting, firmware updates, everything you can do with the camera, you can do it right there within the app. So that's kind of the Scoutek wireless thing, and all you ever do is you just pay for the data that you use because we're managing your data plan. The other service that we built, which allows so many other people, because there's a wide variety of cameras right now that have the ability where you activate your camera and they have the ability to send the photo to an email address. So just one of the probably popular brands would be Cuddyback. They don't even have an app of their own, but when you get their camera and you activate their camera, you can plug in an email address, and then that'll send it to an email address. So what we've realized is people don't like digging through an inbox to try to find a photo. So what we did in Scoutek is you can just go into Scoutek app and register that camera, and basically all you're doing is just giving it a label, or giving your camera a name. And once you do that, we'll assign you a unique email address that you then put in the camera. So now what happens is once the camera takes the photo and sends it to that email, what's really happening is it's getting rerouted, and it just goes directly into the Scoutek app. So that's the other service. And so with that service, we just sell the service by the photo. You get a block of 1,000 photos for only $4. But you can have as many cameras as you want. So if you have 3 cameras, each sending 300 photos a month, it's only $4 for all of those cameras. After 1,000 photos, it's only $1 for the next block of 1,000 photos. Since we are not activating those cameras, we just sell it, based on blocks of 1,000 photos. So that's kind of how that service works. In that service, of course, we don't have two-way control, because we're only receiving the photos from the cameras through the email, so there's no changing of the settings and things like that. So our goal is to, over time, work with more and more camera vendors to move the cameras more towards the Scoutek wireless service, so that we can have that integration and full control over the cameras.
That makes a lot of sense.
Talk a little bit about some of the features of Scoutek too.
Okay, so one of the main things, well, in general, we kind of wanted to take the work out of it. So again, instead of digging through an email inbox of 1 million unread emails where each one's a picture, now it's going to show up as a photo grid. So instantly you're scrolling a photo grid. How much time have you saved already, after you scroll 100 photos? So the idea there is to make the management of all of this data, because trail cameras send a ton of data, and of course the more cameras you have, the more data you're getting. The idea is to make sorting through all this data as efficient as possible, and to help you as the hunter gather as much information as you can, without having to work too hard for it. So one of the great things that we love is the photo grouping and filtering. So you can have 100 cameras, it doesn't matter, but you can view your photos however you want. So in general, you can view just the most recent taken photos combined from all of your cameras, so you can quickly swipe through and see, oh, I can see this morning I had some activity. You can view the photo and see which camera took it. So at a quick glance, you can check on all of your camera's photos, where every other system that we currently have used, you pick a camera and you view the photos for that camera, back out, pick another camera, which isn't bad, but we thought we could offer a little more than that. So you've got the grouping of all your pictures together, where you can do that. You've got, if you want to sort your photos by specific camera, you can do that as well. You can assign your cameras themselves to a location and area. So it kind of puts the idea of, if you have multiple cameras, this would really apply to you, where, let's say you have a hunting club or, a lease that you want to manage. Well, you can assign all of your cameras that you put on that lease to, let's say it's called ABC Lease, for example. Assign them that location, and then if you have a couple cameras over here on the rye field, a couple cameras on power lines, you can assign those separate areas. So then what you can do is you can select the ABC Lease location, and then all of the cameras that are assigned to that location, you're viewing all of those cameras' photos. And then, of course, you can select the areas for that location. So then you would see rye field, or you would see power lines, and it's from the cameras that are there. So it helps you manage photos based on where they were taken, not exactly which camera took them. So it kind of helps with that. So that's one of the things. Another great thing that we love, and I think a lot of customers love, is the camera sharing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for anybody that's not aware, if you have, say I own a camera in Scoutek, doesn't matter which kind, I can you can add friends in Scoutek, so people can follow you, you can follow others, and once that relationship has been established, you can share a camera with them. And what that means is anytime that camera now uploads a photo to your Scoutek app or the website, they will view it as well, just as you can as the camera owner. And you've got some options there. You can set it to where they're view only. All they can do is view your photos, or you can give them admin access, meaning they can help delete photos, manage your camera settings if you have that ability with your current cameras. So it helps you kind of manage, again, if you've got a lot of data coming in, you've got multiple people that can help manage that. So that's a big one that people love.
And to clarify, for if in that lease setting, let's say that one person went out and bought 5 or 6 cameras, it's free for people to download this app and then be able to share. There's no cost to having that account. So if even if you're a public figure or a hunting personality, you can use your cameras on Scoutek, whether that's Exodus render, different model camera, and then if you have a following, those people can create those accounts for free and then actually see what's going on, however your camera's set up, whether it's real time or whatever kind of upload frequency it has. But you get that same, you get the same data.
Push notification.
Exactly.
And discover it at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. And of course, some of the features that we have in the software, of course, can only be available with a camera like the Render. And that's going to be the ones that we have the two-way communication with. So with those types of cameras, of course, we work out with the camera that the camera can send various information. So we can track your battery levels. We can track your signal strength. We can track, how much data you have left on your SD card, even like whether or not you have an external battery installed or not, and whether the camera's running off the external or if it's running off the internal. So there's a whole bunch of reporting capabilities. We can then turn around and tell those cameras to do certain things, take certain actions, like maybe you just, with all trail cameras, a lot of the issues that crop up have something to do usually with the SD card. It's, whether it's a bad format or just data's gotten, too spread out or something, and eventually you need to format it. So right within the app, you can tell the camera to format the SD card. You can apply firmware updates directly from your phone. You can just say, hey, you get a newsletter from Exodus that says, hey, we come out with a new firmware and blah blah blah, and here's what it does. Just right within your mobile app, you can just say, hey, update my firmware. So there's a ton of capabilities like that we currently offer.
I mean, I guess even just the remote access and being able to do a firmware update from the app is a pretty big deal. For a big majority of those cell cameras, you have to go out and physically flash those units with the newest firmware.
Yes.
And I guess that's probably paired between Exodus engineering and Scoutek engineering, and
yes.
Putting those two teams together. To
again, you look at you can look at both spectrums. You're going to look at the really older generation that's still into hunting, still into doing trail cameras. A lot of these guys are not even familiar how to use a computer. So it makes it difficult for them to have to go get on a computer and figure out how to attach an SD card to the computer and download and copy files. So that it helps them to just be able to hit that button. It sounds like a small feature, but now you turn around and take a look at the really young generation coming into the hunting industry. Most of them don't own computers because they can do everything from their phone. So what our kind of goal is if you're going to utilize Scoutek wireless, and we're going to work really hard to go in and add in these features and this integration, because I don't even call it an interface. It's an integration. I mean, everything has to work together. If we're going to go that far, we want to take it to the extreme where you never, ever need to do anything other than just use your app.
Yeah. One of the funny things I noticed yesterday talking to a couple customers, there's people that want to run cell cameras, and they're non-tech people, right? They don't know, like you said, they don't know how to use a computer. They can't download a file to their SD card and do any of that stuff. There's some people that don't even want to, use their phone, but with the ability to share cameras. There was a guy that came in yesterday. He has three or four renders, and he shares his cameras with his buddy. And his buddy, he just tells his buddy, "Hey, I want to update my settings. I want to do this. I need to change this." And his friend goes into the app because he has admin access to those cameras and manages the cameras, and the guy doesn't even have to do anything.
Right.
Yep.
So if you're one of those people that are maybe a little bit intimidated by some of the stuff that we're talking about or some of the products available, just remember, like, you can tell your wife to, whoever, I don't know, maybe not your wife, but maybe your hunting buddy, just download the app. It's free. Give them admin access, and then you can just communicate with them how you want to run your cameras.
Yeah, let your teenage children run it for you.
Yep.
And I kind of want to be clear. The features that we've talked about are what are currently in the app and website now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of like from the jump, this is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not to say that there's not a whole lot that we're constantly working on, which I don't know if you guys want to jump into that at all.
Yeah, I mean, we're just scratching the surface right now, yeah.
So the beautiful thing about the relationship between having Scoutek being a more or less software company where our background is software, that's kind of what we do, and with a camera company that can focus on the hardware and building the camera, is since we don't have to worry about all of that, we can constantly focus on enhancing the software, adding new features, which what we've been doing. And of course, over the off season, as support is not, we don't have such a high volume of support, a lot of features are going to start to get rolled out and hashed out. So one of the big ones that we've been working towards is, some systems might already have this, but the auto tagging.
Mm-hmm.
So more or less the AI recognition of your photos to where it'll automatically know if you have an animal in your photo and what animal is it. Is it a buck or is it a doe? Things like that. We're working on adding features like that in. We've got a lot of other stuff coming for hunting clubs in general, or these companies that offer these weekend hunts to their outfitters and things like that, where I'm kind of drawing a blank here.
So
we've talked about weather reporting. We've talked about.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, some stuff. One of the big directions. I'm gonna even, because this is not a feature. This is a direction that the app that we're wanting to take the app, and really we continue to say app here. I want to make one thing clear in that we do have the mobile app and you can do everything with it. On the other hand, as you were saying about different customers with their different technology capabilities, everything you can do in the website, everything you can do in the mobile app, you can also do from our website, because we actually did have a customer. It was kind of funny. I was working with a customer and they were trying to get their camera set up, and they were out in the woods when they were calling us, and I was trying to walk him through if he had his mobile app, could he, and he kept saying, "No, I don't have it." But then I didn't quite understand, and I said, "Well, do you have your cell phone?" He says, "Yes." So, obviously I'm talking with you on it, and I thought that was kind of funny because I kind of knew that, but I'm trying to direct him to the mobile app on his cell phone. But what finally came to the surface that it took me a minute to understand was this guy had a flip phone. So, yes, he had a cell phone, but he says he has no idea how to run the mobile app. So he runs everything from the website, which you can do. The only thing that's actually in the mobile app that you can't do from a desktop computer is during the registration process, the camera displays all the numbers for the SIM card and the camera, and you would normally input those, but with the mobile app we enabled a capability where you can just hit a button and we can use your mobile phone's camera so that you can just scan the screen and it'll pull all that data in, so it just simplifies the registration process. But of course on a desktop computer you don't have this camera that you can wave around to it. But other than that, everything else that we can do in the mobile app, you can also do from the website. So I wanted to clear that up. But more on the direction of where we're going with Scoutek, social networking is going to be built into the app more and more and more. It's going to be more than just a feature. So right now, out the gate, of course, you can just search for your friends by name or email or whatever. And to offset that, if someone says, I don't want to do the social thing, I don't want people sending me friend requests or anything like that, we have the ability where you can set your account to like hidden, so that if people even search, if they know your email or they know your name, they're going to search and they can't even find you. So we have security built in.
I need to do that with my account.
But at the same time, for those who want to get involved and get connected with other people, because we find that, listen, this is great. It's fun. I enjoy my trail cameras and seeing what's popping up on them. But I also enjoy seeing what you guys have up here in Ohio that we don't have down in Georgia. So that's a huge aspect of the software, is having some social capabilities. And so being able to share cameras is just the beginnings of it. Part of what Cavan was alluding to earlier is some plans for the near future is to start creating something called like a club account. And what you're going to get, what we're going to be adding in for the standard, just the standard account, which is what you have when you first sign up. A couple of things that we plan to get done before this next season comes is the photos that your camera uploads. Of course, it gets to be a lot of photos, and we see a lot of customers just constantly deleting them. But what we want everyone to know is that the photos will get automatically purged after 60 days. So that's the way the app currently works. However, what we also realize is that there's going to be a good handful of photos that you don't want purged. You want to leave them in the app because you're just so used to jumping in the app to pull up your photos, because we have the ability to tag the photos. So you can pull certain photos and put them in a group and say, big buck, and put it under that tag. So then when you see a friend of yours who may not have trail cameras and may not be part of the Scoutek community, you can just open your app and just click on the big buck, tag, and you're going to be able to just show them, jump straight to those pictures. It don't matter when they were taken and all of that. So we recognize that there are going to be photos that people are not going to want auto purged. So what we're going to do is, for the standard account, we're just going to have where you can have, and we haven't put this in yet, but it should be in before this next hunting season. But there's going to be so many photos, let's just hypothetically say like 100, and that you can just go in there and mark these photos and say, hey, I want to permanently store these on the cloud. I don't want these purged. And
just to clarify, if there currently is any photos you want to keep either on the desktop or the app, you can download them straight to your hard drive or to your phone. Correct. But this is to keep them in Scoutek.
Correct. And so then along with that, of course, cloud storage and stuff like that, of course, costs money. Pulling things like weather data and stuff like that, there's certain services that we're going to want to offer that just, it's simple. It costs us money to do. So trying to pay that for the masses, whether people want it or not, could get to be too expensive and cost prohibitive. So our plan is to create another level of type of an account. So, and we're thinking not that you have to be a hunting club or not that you have to be some kind of an organization, but if you're kind of more etching toward the professional side of hunting and you're going to want more detailed charting to be able to see, I want to see my activity for bucks by moon phase or by temperature or things like that. There's some services like that that's going to cost extra money. And so what our plans are is to have a club account feature, but there's a lot of features that we plan to put in on that. So it's going to be more than just sharing a camera with a person. It's going to be kind of tailored towards hunting clubs and things like that, where you're going to have more feedback and you're going to have more ability so that you can post a message on a board so that all the members of the club can see the messages and start helping you take this software beyond just trail camera management. So trail cameras, the photos, all of that is the foundation of it that's going to feed the data into the app. But now you might turn around and say, okay, well, we're part of a hunting club and we use Scoutek and we've got all these cameras out here, but we have a problem trying to manage reserving deer stands. So it may be that you have your hunting club policy. What we hear a lot of is they put up a map at the entrance of their hunting club, and when you get there, you got to take a thumbtack and you stick it where the stand is to let the next person coming in know that you're at that stand. Well, what's frustrating for them is when they get there that morning, there's already a pin in the stand they had planned to go hunting in, and so now they're kind of aggravated with that. And then what's even worse is they pick some other spot and then find out the pin that was in the stand where they wanted to, no one was there. The guy left it there and forgot to pull it back out from yesterday. So, we hear all this kind of stuff where people tell us, it sure would be nice. So why not right inside of Scoutek? Let's go ahead and pull up some Google Maps and identify where the stands are and just let people use the app to reserve the stands and give them some better control. So that's going to be kind of the social aspect. Another huge option that we plan to add, and it probably won't be this year, but it's probably going to be either the year after that. But again, this is why I'm saying it's the direction we're going. We're wanting to add like community pages. It may look a lot like Instagram or something like that, where you might pick and choose, well, I would like to share this photo with people. And you may not have created a following or a friend relationship with people, but you just want to post this nice photo of this buck or this bear or coyote or whatever, or a video, and just get that out there and put your comments in it. Well, then everybody who comes to Scoutek, I know I would love to see the pictures that other people pick out. I may not want to thumb through 1.5 million that we got last month or two, but if people are going to pick out their best photos and post them in the community board, that's going to be something it's going to keep me coming back to Scoutek because I just want to see those things. And so we feel like a lot of other people would enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
One question. So in that direction, is there the possibility of following, I guess, like hashtags, or when you're tagging photos, sharing that general tag with folks? So if someone wanted to go in, like for example, on Instagram, you can follow certain hashtags.
Right.
So when you start developing these community pages, or that, I guess, the social direction of the software, will people have that ability to follow certain hashtags if they're publicly shared?
We can definitely add that in there. I mean, we love to take suggestions that we hear from kind of the community as a whole and build on that. One of the major ones that kind of slipped my mind earlier, I'm getting old, man, was the mapping interface.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. Integrating with Google Maps to where you can physically mark where your cameras are, and not only your cameras, but other things, maybe your stands and whatnot. But to go a little bit further, to be able to, on the map, show what season. And what I mean by that is the satellite imaging of taken during the summer is obviously looks a lot different from the winter when all the foliage and all the leaves are gone. So to be able to mark those different areas and view, what they look like based on what time you're looking at it. So if I'm looking at the map, I'm trying to find my camera and it's the winter, I can view the satellite image from the winter instead of the summer.
Yep.
So that's a big one that we're working on adding in as well.
I'm very excited to see the progression of the app. I already love it. It's so easy to use.
Thank you.
And you guys have done a fantastic job and have been a pleasure to work with. And we're certainly thankful for that. It is about to be showtime. The doors are about to open here somewhat soon. Is there anything else you guys want to mention?
I will say, when Scoutek started out, this was just an idea, right? So we knew our capabilities, what we were capable of, but we didn't have. So, for example, when we contacted Exodus, we didn't have anything to show you guys. We didn't say, "Here's a demo. Your camera will be able to do this." It was an idea. We knew we could make it happen. You guys didn't know that. I mean, we didn't know each other on a personal level before this. So I would just like to say how thankful I am for Exodus. They really took a leap of faith on this whole project with us, and we will forever be grateful for that.
Yes.
It's kind of weird. I think that Wayne had sent like some cold emails or something, and
it wasn't even an email. when he just, I love this story. I'd like to take 1 second just to mention it. But so he and I just discussed this idea of Scoutek. And so he and I said, I have no idea if people are actually going to be on board with this. I think that there's a lot of companies out there who could use our services, but we don't know. It was an idea. So I said, well, let's just do a test. So we hopped on the computer and just Googled trail cameras, and Exodus came to the top of the Google search.
Yeah, there you go.
And so we just clicked on your website, never heard your name before. And so I clicked on your contact us page, and I just typed in a quick message saying something, because we looked through your website and noticed you offered trail cameras, but not wireless trail cameras. And so we just typed in a message, something to the effect of, if you're interested in trying to build a wireless trail camera, and maybe the software side and developing cloud servers and maintaining all that is not something you're prepared to deal with, that's something we can bring to the table. If you want to try to create a partnership, give us a call. And we just send that, and then he and I went to eating lunch or eating our PB&J sandwich, and then within an hour, one of your guys called us.
I think it was Steve, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So that is and so we ended up talking, obviously, and as Cavan said, you guys have faith in us, because we were kind of up front with you, and we said, well, here's our plan. Here's what we want to do. Here, this is our pitch, but we don't have anything to demo to you. But you guys had faith in us, and so yeah, I'm with Cavan. It's like and now the even better part of that is just getting to know you guys and seeing the type of people you are. This is exactly why we want to be in this industry. We just love working with people who are, just are kind-hearted and just down-to-earth good people. So.
You're all right. Don't get a big head.
But, so that was kind of like what was the beginnings of Scoutek there. So, and I want to put in one last plug for the people who may be listening to this, and they may be ones that they say, well, I can't afford wireless cameras. I don't want to. I don't have the money to pay for data plans and all of that. Another major aspect of what we plan to offer, because again, we truly want to give back to the community. And when I'm talking, I'm just saying the hunting industry as a whole. Part of this aspect is what can we offer? So another thing I think we're going to try to do is allow people to take the little SD card readers to pop on your cell phone, pop your SD card in, and run the Scoutek app and just hit an upload button, so that you may not even have a wireless camera, but you don't want to miss out on all the features and capabilities. So once they load those photos, whether it's directly from the SD card or not, from that point forward, now they can use that information to, again, get statistical charts for activity. They can share the photos with their friends, all of that. They're going to get the benefits of Scoutek even though they don't have a wireless camera. So we're wanting to try to, include everyone in this project. So,
yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of areas around the country where there's no cell service if it's state right. ground, federal ground, whatever. I know. A lot of the places that I hunt, I can't even use my own damn cameras. I'm still running regular SD card cameras and having the capability to kind of manage that through one contact point through the mobile app or the web portal. Like, that would make a difference for me. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely, myself included.
Perfect. Well, as you guys roll out those features, we'll have to link up again and talk about them as you release them.
Yes,
and,
for sure.
Tell everyone about it. And also, if anyone wants to track you down, maybe they have an idea they want to throw your way, how can they reach out to you?
On our website, we've got a live chat option, which runs through business hours. So if it's Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5 Eastern time, we'll be there. So just send us a live chat, or you can email us support@scoutek.email, or I'm sorry, support@scoutek.com. Our support number, call it. If we don't answer, text it, leave us a voicemail.
It's on the website.
If you need support on something, you're going to talk to us, so we get back to you.
Yep.
And that's Scoutek, SCOUTEK.com. So tech is one T.
T-E-K. Yep,
spelled with a K.
Yeah, we combined the T's.
Right on.
Had to save the ink in our marketing material. You know, we couldn't afford that extra letter.
Got to be efficient.
T, man. Well, perfect. We really appreciate it, and like I said,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see these features roll out throughout the year.
And we are really looking forward to, you know, as you guys know, this season was our first season together. You guys were able to roll the cameras out. So people's first season of being able to actually utilize Scoutek. We're really wanting to reach out to the community now that more or less they've gone through their first season, and get feedback. What we're saying is exactly what you're talking about. We want to collaborate with the people out there in the field, the ones that's, you know, putting in the hours and doing the hunting and using the app. We want to collaborate with them and find out what's working for them, what's not working for them, what would be helpful for them. Give us your ideas. We want to bring to the table what you guys are going to be able to utilize the most. So we really look forward to your feedback.
Perfect. Well, Wayne, Cavan, we appreciate it, and we'll be talking again soon.
All right.
Sir, thank you guys.